Walaikum Salam.
I have a question for you. I was wondering if you could explain, a brief explanation about the Nation of Islam, about what it was like back then when you were in, back in the days of the messenger, and about the way the Nation of Islam is now, and the changes that have came about.
Well, if you're talking about in the late 50s and 60s, when I came into the Nation of Islam, uh, it was in the mid 50s. So the nation began to grow. I was in Los Angeles at the time that I heard Islam. Well, no, not the first time I heard Islam. I heard Islam in San Diego. Minister Henry X uh, briefly, brother asked me to come to down there. He said, I was out there on the streets, and so I went with him to the temple, and saw there was quite a few people there, and I didn't stay long because I was out there on the streets uh, looking for a place where we could hang out, more or less. And so down the streets, a few blocks, was a nightclub and I was into dancing and all that at the time. So I left and went on to the nightclub. But it didn't dawn on me that really what it was all about at that time. So it was about 3 years later that I got involved with brothers. A brother out of New York came to Los Angeles, and a friend of mine, we picked him up and went to the boxing match that he was a manager of a brother, Tony Anthony. And this brother was a knockout brother. So we went to the fight that night at the Olympic Auditorium. He was fighting for the championship. And the brother that was fighting, he wasn't a brother, he was a Chicano, a Mexican, and he was a champion named Chico Villa. So he knocked him out, I think in the second round. And I, after the fight, we were in the car going to the reception, and I asked the brother, I said, as Tony Anthony knocked all his opponents out in less than 4 rounds. And he said, well, he was a street fighter. And so I told him I was going to teach him how to make money without going out there in the streets fighting for nothing. And I told the brother, I said, now, one of the things you need to learn is most of your opponents are going to be white. And he said, you have to learn the nature of the white man and the black man. And he said, you have to learn that you have to take, when you get in the ring, take out 400 years of his treatment of black people. So, you think about what the white man has done to the black people for 400 years, and you take it out on him. You don't let him get away with anything. You whoop him for every year that he was in slavery, kept our people in slavery. So he started taking it out on the white man whenever we got one in the ring. And so he started talking about what the white man has done to the black man, and the change is coming around. Now it's the black man's turn. So we were driving, I was struggling, so I asked him, I said, well, how do you, he was talking about black man as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I asked him, I said, well, how do you know all this? And so he said, well, be quiet, you'll learn something. So he started teaching about Islam. Now the black men had been deceived over 40 years, and boom, boom, boom. And the brother kept driving, and he said, don't go by the hotel, sir. Just drive, sir. We'll talk a while. So we wound up out on the beach, and we walked on the beach, along the beach, and he was teaching. So when the sun came up, he had us, three of us, turn to the east and pray. So that was the beginning of my beginning in Islam. So, and then I asked him when we got to the hotel, how can I find out more about this? And he said, wait here in the lobby and I'll be back. As he went to the room and he got his notebook with his lessons and everything in it. And he brought it down to me, and he said, now he said, I'm gonna be here for 3 days. So you just take it so you can study this. And I got his notebook and I got into it. But the thing about it is, everything was confusing to me. I didn't, first time I'd ever read anything like that. Student enrollment, action facts. Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, 2, English lesson. And so, but I copied the Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, 2, student enrollment action facts. I copied it down. And then I asked him to explain it to me. And he took his notebook and he said, no, I said, brother, I'm not going to take too long to try to explain it. He said, but you can write to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and ask him to explain it. So I wrote to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He gave me the address and everything. And when I wrote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and sent him special delivered in about 3 or 4 days, I got an answer back from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
And he said, send me what you have from the brother, and if it's right, say I'll give you some more. He said, but I want you to start off right. So send it to me, and I sent him what I copied down, and about a week later, I got a letter from the messenger, and he was telling me, he said, yes, brother, said, what you have is right. He said, but I want to get you started right, and so I'm going to give you a lesson. And he sent me Lost Found Muslim number 1, question number 1. So he said he sent me the answer. And so I didn't know what the answer was. So I studied. I went to the library, who was the original man, looking for the answer. And I wrote him back and told him that I couldn't find the answer. So he sent me the answer. And from then on up, I was getting lessons one at a time. I didn't get lessons like a lot of Muslims are getting today.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get the whole student enrollment, action fact, and all that. Just got a one question and one answer. So, but anyway, at that time I started teaching on the streets, nightclubs, in the hotel where Brother Steve, a lot of entertainers come through, and a black hotel on the top of the line in Los Angeles. And so I would sit in the lobby, and the owner of the hotel, he was a Mason, and he liked the way I was explaining Islam and breaking down Masonry. So a lot of people didn't like because I was explaining about the white man. Cinnapote and Harry Belafonte, you know, and the entertainers, most of the top entertainers, the Midnighters, so many. But anyway, another brother there, we rented a place and started a temple in Los Angeles. And it grew so fast, people were coming so fast because a lot of the entertainers, especially the Midnighters and all those entertainers at that time that I knew, every time they come in, you know, they would, after meetings, at the dance hall, where they were lecturing, I mean, where they were singing, entertaining, they would tell them that they were coming, you know, people want to see me and get my autograph, you know, you can come up to where they teaching Islam. But anyway, that's where it grew so fast. So the messenger sent Malcolm out. And when he came out, he wanted Malcolm to teach us how to set up the temple properly because we didn't have no instruction. We were just, you know. So Malcolm brought with him 4 or 5 brothers, Lewis, Adam D., Bernard Kushmir, and a couple of more to help us get set up right. This was in 1957. So that's when I first met Malcolm. And then it went on from there. The story goes on and on. It's so much to tell.
Yes, sir.
In a short time to tell it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But anyway, the temple grew. The messenger was sick at the time. He had attracted bronchitis at Savior's Day, and he didn't. And he had spoke. Islam takes away a lot from you when you teach, and you're teaching hard.
Yes,
You got a lot of people, and so he was sweating, and his clothes were just wet with sweat. So when he got home, he went to his room, and he laid down and he opened a window. And this was in February. Snow was on the ground, everything was freezing weather. And he fell asleep. And his clothes froze on him. So when they woke him up, he was, you know, his clothes had frozen. So from that, he got bronchitis. And he got bronchitis. the doctor told him he needed a warm climate, and the messenger chose Phoenix. And so he came to Los Angeles to speak. And he asked me, the ministers that was there from all over California, that he need to set up a temple in Phoenix, and wanted to know who would go down there and set it up. Well, nobody wanted to go. So I told him I would go, because Phoenix is very humid, hot. Temperatures get up to the 120s in the summer. So I started going down there, and I would take 4 or 5 brothers with me. We would drive down on weekends, and the people start coming. We start putting out flyers and things, and the people start coming. So the messenger told me to move down there. And so I moved down there. And after I was there for a while, a couple of months, he said, I want to find me a home there. And so I started looking at black real estate agents, and he found the Louis Jordan home. Louis Jordan had it for sale. So I told the messenger about it. So the messenger wanted to come down and check it out. Came down, and he liked it. Louis Jordan had 3 homes there. They were all right there. He had a home on the corner here. And he had homes adjoining. And but anyway, I made a deal with the real estate agent. He wanted $35,000 for the home. And so I got on the phone and I called the messenger, and said, well, brother, I'm gonna make him an offer. And he told me, he said, you go back and tell him that I'll send him a cashier's check for $25,000. And so the real estate agent, he accepted and got that home. And then he bought these other 2 homes there. And he came down, and he went on from there.
So the way it is, was being back in the days of the messenger and the things that's going on with the Nation of Islam now, I mean, what is it really going to take to get things back in order with the Nation of Islam?
Who said what?
I said the way that things were, with the Nation of Islam back then, and the way things are now, what will it take to get things back in order with the Nation of Islam?
Well, things will never get back like it were. People are in a different state of mind and condition now. People were hurting back there at the end. They didn't have money like the people have today. They didn't have good jobs like they have today. And people were looking for change then. But today they become more integrated.
Yes, sir.
Their minds are set in a way where they're not looking for change. The white man is playing tricks on them, and he's the greatest tricker in the world.
Yes, sir.
So people are listening to him. Integration is a thing today, and he's given our women good jobs, the men also. So people are looking at this. They accept in Islam only those who have position or don't depend on the white man so much because of thought of losing their job. So they're in a state of mind and condition different from what they were back then.
Yes,
See, now you start talking to the black man about change and the white man and all this, they don't want to hear it.
sir.
You see, back there then, they were looking for a solution for the problems.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the world is changing so fast, and the people they are living in a world where they don't realize what the future holds for them.
Yes, sir.
They see all these things going on right before their eyes, killing and everything. They act as if there's nothing happened. See, for a few days, they killing after killing after killing. They demonstrated and all that, but they go right back to the same state of mind and condition that they were in.
Yes, sir.
Is that condition you're speaking about, is that because of the things that that we watch on TV and the movie, we used to see in violence, so when it happened in real life, we outcry and go right back to our lives?
Yes, sir, those are kind of changes, but no matter what happens in this day and time, it's not enough to make the black man decide that he want a complete change, as the Honorable Elijah Woman has taught us. Back there then, we didn't have problems selling our newspaper.
Yes, sir.
Now we have problems. They don't want it. You know, they're not quick to sell. Even little children will buy the paper. Because back there then, the paper was only 10 cents and then it went on up. But that was a lot of money then. So So we have to understand that time make a change on people,
Yes, sir.
minds and conditions. Like everything that goes down, uh, see, like black people, they're not news watchers like the white man. The white man knows everything that goes on at all times. See, it's like black people right now, they don't watch the news. They're watching everything else but news. Like all these black people that were killed in this fire in London. See, Muslims. See, so that's the white man's way of retaliating for the Muslims killing all those white people in London. See, mowing them down in their trucks and things. See, now this high-rise apartment building where there's 80, I think they said 80-something missing, and about 40 is already declared dead.
Yes, sir.
You know, you see, black people don't even know what's going on. You see, a high-rise apartment like that with only mostly black people, Muslims in it. These were Muslims. Well, it was Muslims that killed all these white people in the trucks there in London, on London Bridge and all that. It was Muslims that killed all those people. Now you got an apartment building, you know, high rise, and you got 40 declared dead, 80-something missing. And so for black people, they don't, what's that? It don't affect them, they say. But it should affect them.
Right.
See, because a war is going on and they don't realize they're in it. See? But it's time the black man wake up and take notice. What the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been teaching us for all these years. And when you read the books, Mission to the Black Man, The Fall of America, and see all these things happening. When you read the Holy Quran and the Bible, everything is right there. And the Holy Quran states that these things would happen, that you see happening today. But our people, they don't know what to do. They sit, and it's a shame, really, that they don't want to face reality of the time and what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Also, Brother Minister, you was mentioning the first time that you saw him when you first met Malcolm, he came to Los Angeles. So during the time that he was with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what was your relationship like with him? When he was with
Malcolm?
you? Yes, sir. What was your relationship with Malcolm like?
Yeah, we had a good relationship. Malcolm was, you know, he was Malcolm then, but he hadn't made no change at that time. Yeah, he was teaching strictly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted him to teach. He was a good brother.
Yes, sir.
But after this split, Malcolm's attack on the messenger, then the change came about.
Yes, sir.
So, what about the first time you ever met Minister Farrakhan?
well, that was in 1957 when Malcolm
Okay.
came out. He brought him out there
Okay.
with him.
And back then, what was your relationship with Minister Farrakhan like
Well, he's just,
back in the day?
yeah, he was just another minister, you know. We were ministers, you know. He stayed out there for about a week or two at that time, and we had a pretty good relationship. We always had a pretty good relationship, and so it grew on when Malcolm was killed. He took over number 7 Temple, Mosque number 7 in New York, and I was the Western Regional Representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he became the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we exchanged rostrums, you know. So,
What about Muhammad Ali? Did you ever have a relationship with Muhammad Ali? I know you were close to her.
yeah, Muhammad Ali, I met him, but we became close during the riots in Los Angeles in the 60s. And he had him as a grand marshal when they, and so I drove him around when he came out there, after they'd taken his crown from him, you know, and the messenger made him a minister. You know, he came to Los Angeles several times. And, I would escort him around. So,
So the way things are going now, what does it look like to the Nation of Islam now?
well, it's like when I talked to John Ali, he realized that the things would never be the same anymore.
Yes, sir.
And he's talking about all the Muslims out in Chicago and the change that they have made, you know. There's no real support of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad there. People don't speak of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad like they once did, and the believers don't support the temple. They follow Farrakhan, but their hearts and their minds are not on the messenger like it was when he was alive.
Yes, sir.
And you got so many spooky believers there today that think the messenger's alive, you know, up there on the mother plane somewhere.
Yes, sir.
So, in the time of the messenger, the teachings was, as you said, was right for the people, so they flocked to the teachings. So in this time, as you said, people are different. how do we have to bring the teachings to them to get them to flock to it like they did back in the 60s, the 50s?
Well, we had unity then. Brothers support brothers. You know, now you don't have that unity, the support that you once had. Why don't you sit over here, brother? They keep, on the screen, they keep me looking.
Okay.
But anyway, the support we had then for one another, that support is gone. We used to get a lost found if you come to the temple. We would put brothers on him, and he would never be left alone. Brothers would invite him to coffee, go to the coffee shops. You know, sometimes we would sit up all night, you know, just talking Islam, you know. But now, you come to the temple, you're there for a couple hours, and you're gone, you don't see it no more till the next Sunday. You see, and unity is not there. See, believers, but we were always on the phone with one another, going with one another, out selling papers together. It don't happen anymore. You see. So
are this generation of Muslims, are we lazy Muslims?
it's not that it's lazy. You don't have anyone to guide them and enforce the law on them. See, FOI, there's no, you know, the captain would, you know, make sure the brothers came out to meetings. It don't happen no more. Nobody cares if you don't come, and nobody cares. Nobody calling, make sure that you're gonna be there Sunday, you know, be at the meeting. Nobody's calling on them. Nobody cares. If you see them, okay. If you don't, you know. And this is what is happening. So, but you didn't miss a meeting back there then. If you did, you were charged for missing the meeting, you know. So,
I guess this be the end of part one.
Yes, sir. All right, well, brother, that's good.
Like you said, but it just takes a long time, you know, as far as going into the history of the Nation of Islam, you know, then and now. But we'd like to continue this another time, you know, be the will of Allah.
yes, sir.
All right, brother,